think they identify what they do well. Two seam slider, that's the recipe, and it's working. You're seeing guys with nasty sliders develop quickly. Like Jared Jones is a perfect example. I mean, you could point out schemes, but I don't think really anyone had to do much with him. I'm not saying the Pirates haven't improved him, but I'm just saying, like, that's a talent that pretty much anyone in Major League Baseball can see, all right, yeah, here's how we're going to get the best out of him.
So I want to start off talking about pitching. Obviously, with Skeens and Jones, the Pirates made headlines with that last year. But if you look at their system, as you have guys like Bubba Chandler, Thomas Harrington, Braxton Ashcraft, Michael Kennedy. I mean, there's like 10 guys you can name. What has been your impressions of just kind of that pipeline that Sherrington's built and just some of those guys in the system that are getting closer to the majors?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is, having a lot of high draft picks. When you're rebuilding, you're picking early, and you have access to these things. But I mean, to their credit, they've got a lot right. There are guys in the system who don't necessarily get a lot of shine. Guys in their front office or their development staff. A guy like Dewey Robinson should be talked about a lot more. He has a history with Tampa Bay, helped develop a lot of their pitching like a decade ago, and now he's on in Pittsburgh, and you can feel his impact. John Hopper is another name that has done a tremendous job. I think they identify what they do well. Two seam slider, that's the recipe, and it's working. You're seeing guys with nasty sliders develop quickly. Like Jared Jones is a perfect example. I mean, you could point out schemes, but I don't think really anyone had to do much with him. I'm not saying the Pirates haven't improved him, but I'm just saying, like, that's a talent that pretty much anyone in Major League Baseball can see, all right, yeah, here's how we're going to get the best out of him. But guys like Jones that they developed, Luis Ortiz is a development win, in my opinion. They got the most out of Bailey Falter this year, and I think he can even be better next year. And then you point out the farm system. I mean, it's loaded. The AAA guys obviously stand out, but guys like Hunter Barco, Carlson Reed had a really good year in high A. I think, like I mentioned earlier, they identify what they know how to coach very well. If they see certain stuff that they're familiar with and they know they can develop, they can turn them into, efficient pitchers. And they have a lot of that right now. The other side of it is not great. They haven't done great at developing offense at all, but the pitching side, I mean, you could argue, I don't know an organization that has more pitching from top to the very bottom than Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah, I was impressed last year. I felt like every time I went on social media, those guys, Christian Curtis, another one that comes to mind, Ulith, it seemed like every week there's a different Pirates pitcher winning an award or just getting highlighted.
Yeah. I mean, they're loaded, and that's probably going to be, if they do make the playoffs eventually with this regime, that's going to play the primary factor, not just through production, but those are trade chips. I mean, you guys talk about Boston. Obviously, they offloaded a pitching guy, a former first-round pick, Quinn Priester, this past deadline, and I expect them to do more of that, to start trading away these guys in AA and single A, or maybe even if they want to get aggressive, some of their high-ranked guys in AAA this offseason, just because, I mean, like I said, hitting hasn't necessarily matched the development progress that pitching has. So they're going to have to start evening that out. And when you have a recipe that will allow you to continue churning out these guys, which I think they have, you should be able to do that successfully.